Okay, I'm here to read chapter 14 of the Gods of Asgard, Magnus Chase, the Hammer of Thor. I enjoy reading this, and now we're on chapter 14. The title of chapter 14 says, Cry Me a Blood River. Wait, actually, don't. Just like the good old days, marching together into the unknown, searching for missing magical weapons, risking painful death, I missed my old buddies. We walked halfway around the base of the tower before Blitzen said, Aha! He knelt and ran his glove fingertips along the crack in the paving stones. To me, it didn't look any different from the thousands of other cracks in the stone, but Blitzen seemed to like this one. He grinned up at me. Now you see, kid, you never would have found this without me, a dwarf. You would have walked around and around this building forever, looking for the entrance to the tomb and that crack in the entrance. It's a trigger for the entrance, yeah, but we'll still need some magic to get in. Hearth, double-check this for me, will you? Hearth crouched next to him. He nodded like, yep, then traced a ruin on the floor with his finger. Immediately, a 10-foot square section of pavement vaporized, revealing a shaft that plunged straight down. Unfortunately, the four of us happened to be on that 10-foot square when it vaporized. We dropped into darkness with a fair amount of screaming, most of it was mine. Good news, when I landed I didn't break any bones. Bad news, Hearthstone did. I heard a wet snap, followed by Hearth's grunt, and I knew immediately what had happened. I'm not saying elves are fragile. In some ways, Hearth was the toughest guy I knew. But on occasion, I wanted to wrap him in a blanket and slapped a "handle with care" sticker on his forehead. Hold on, man, I told him, which was useless since he couldn't see me in the dark. I found his leg and quickly located the break. Hearth gasped and tried to claw his skin off my hands. Hearth grasped and tried to claw the skin off my hands. What's going on? Blitzen demanded. Whose elbow is this? That's me, Sam said. Everybody okay? Hearth has a broken ankle, I said. I need to fix it. You two keep watch. It's totally dark, Blitzen complained. You're a dwarf. Sam slipped her axe from her belt, a sound I knew very well. I thought you thrived underground. I do, said Blitzen, preferably in a well-lit, tasteful, decorated underground. Judging from the echoes of our voices, we were in a large stone chamber. There was no light, so I assumed the shaft we'd fallen through had closed above us. In the plus column, nothing had attacked us yet. I found Hearth's hand and made him sign letters against his palm so he wouldn't panic. Heal you. Be still. Then I put both my hands on his broken ankle. I called on the power of Frey. Warmth blossomed in my chest and spread down my arms. My fingers glowed with a soft golden light, pushing back the darkness. I could feel the bones in Hearthstone's ankle knitting together. The swelling subsided, his circulation returning to normal. He let out a long sigh and signed, Thank you, Magnus. I squeezed his knee. No problem, man. So Magnus, Blitzen said, his voice hoarse, you may want to look around. One side effect of my healing power was I was temporarily glowing. I didn't mean I looked healthy. I actually glowed. In the daylight, it was hardly noticeable. But here, in a dark subterranean chamber, I looked like a human nightlight. Sadly, that meant I could now see our surroundings. We were in the middle of a domed chamber, like a giant beehive carved from rock. The apex of the ceiling, about 20 feet up, showed no signs of a hatch, through which we've fallen. All around the circumference of the walls, in a closet-sized niche, stood mummified men in rotten clothing, their leathery fingers clasped around the hilt of corroded swords. I saw no exit from the room. Well, this is perfect, I said. We're going to wake up. They're going to wake up, right? Aren't they? Those 10 dudes along the wall? 12, Sam corrected. 12 guys with big swords, I said. My hand closed around my runestone pendant. Either Jack was trembling or I was. I decided it must have been Jack. They could just be terrifying, inanimated corpse, Bliss said. Think positive. Hearthstone snapped his fingers for attention. He pointed to the sarcophagus that stood upright in the center of the room. It's not that I hadn't noticed it. The big iron box was hard to miss. But I'd been trying to ignore it, hoping it would go away. The front was carved with ornate Viking images, wolves, serpents, runic inscriptions swirling around a central picture of a bearded man with a big sword. I had no idea a coffin like this was doing on campus on Cape Cod. I was pretty sure the Pilgrims hadn't brought it over on the Mayflower. Sam motioned for us to stay put. She levitated off the floor and floated around the sarcophagus, her axe ready. Inscriptions on the back, too, she said. This sarcophagus is old. I don't see any signs that it's been opened recently. But perhaps Thrime hid the hammer inside. Here's an idea, Blitzen said. Let's not check. I glanced at him. That's your expert opinion? Look, kid, this tomb reeks of ancient power. It was built well over 1,000 years ago, long before the Viking explorers got to North America. How can you tell? The marks on the rock, Blitzen said. I can tell when a chamber was hewn as easy as I can gauge the age of a shirt by the wear of its threads. That didn't sound very easy to me. Then again, I didn't have a degree in dwarfen fashion design. So, it's a Viking tomb built where the Vikings got here. Before the Vikings got here. I said, how is that possible? It moved, Hearthstone signed. What? How can a tomb move? Blitzen took off his pith helmet. The gauze netting left a cowlick across his otherwise perfect hair. Kid, stuff moves in the 9 worlds all the time. We're connected by the world tree, right? Branches sway, new branches grow, roots deepen. This place has shifted from wherever it was originally built. Probably because, it's imbued with evil magic. Sam touched down next to us. Not a fan of evil magic. Hearth pointed to the floor in front of the sarcophagus. I hadn't noticed before, but all around the base of the coffin, a faint circle of runes was etched in the stone. Hearst's finger spelled out Kenning. What's that? I asked. Sam edged a little closer to the inscription. A Kenning, a Viking nickname. You mean like Hey, Kenning, how's it going? No, Sam said, in that I am going to hit you with the stupid stick soon, Magnus. It's a way of referring to someone with a description instead of their name. It's like instead of Blitzen, I might say Cleaver of Clothes, or Hearthstone Ruin Lord. Hearth nodded. You may call me Rune Lord. Sam squinted at the inscription on the floor. Magnus, could you glow a little closer, please? I'm not your flashlight, but I stepped forward to the coffin. It says Blood River, Sam announced, over and over all the way around. You can read Old Norse? I asked. Old Norse is easy. You want difficult? Try learning Arabic. Blood River? My bagel breakfast sat heavy in my gut. Doesn't this remind anybody of bloodshed that cannot be stopped? I don't like it. I don't like the feeling here. Even without his gauze netting, Blitzen looked a little gray. It's probably coincidence. However, I would like to point out there is no exits from this room. My dwarfen senses tell me these walls are solid all the way around. We've walked into a loaded trap. The only way out is to spring it. I'm starting to dislike this dwarf's senses, I said. You and me both, kid. Hearthstone glared at Blitzen. You want to come here? Now what? Breaking Kenning's circle? Open the coffin? Sam readjusted her ahab. If there's a weight in this tomb, it'll be in that sarcophagus. It's also the most secure place to hide a magical weapon, like a god's hammer. I need a second opinion. I pulled off my pendant. Jack sprang to full strength in my hand. Hey, guys. Ooh, a tomb imbued with evil magic. Cool. Hey, buddy. Jack. Can you sense Thor's hammer anywhere around here? Jack vibrated with concentration. Hard to be sure. There's something powerful in that box. A weapon? A magical weapon? Can we open it? Please, please. This is exciting. I resist the urge to smack him upside the hilt, which would have only hurt me. You ever heard of an earth giant working with a weight? Like using its tomb as a safe deposit box? That would be strange, Jack admitted. Usually an earth giant just buries his stuff in, the earth. Like deep in the earth. I turned to Sam. So why would Otis send us here? And how is it a good idea? Sam glanced around the chamber like she was trying to decide which of the 12 mummies to hide behind. Look, maybe Otis was wrong. Maybe, just maybe, this was a wild goose chase. But we're here now, Jack said. Come on, guys. I'll protect you. Besides, I can't stand an unopened present. At least let me shake the coffin to guess what's inside. Hearthstone made a chopping motion against his palm. Enough already. From the inside pocket of his jacket, he produced a small leather pouch. His collection of runestones. He pulled out one that looked like this. That's Dengaz, I said. We use that for opening doors in Valhalla. Are you sure? Are you really sure about this? Hearth's expression stopped me. He didn't need sign language to convey how he felt. He regretted this whole situation. He hated putting Blitzen in danger. But we were here now. He brought him along he knew magic. He wanted to get this over with. Magnus, Sam said, You may want to step back. I did, positioning myself in front of Blitzen just in case Blood River sprang out of the coffin, samurai style, and went directly for the nearest dwarf. Hearth knelt. He touched Dagaz's ruin in the inscription. Instantly, the Blood River kinning ignited like a ring of gunpowder. Hearth backed away as the sarcophagus iron lid blew right off, hurtling past me, slamming into the wall. Before us stood a mummified king in a silver crown and a silver armor with a sheathed sword clasped in its hands. Wait for it, I muttered. Naturally, the corpse opened his eyes. That's chapter 14.